I am still sporadic in how I document my journey. It's been quite a minute since I even spoke in front of a camera, but I'm in the middle of a workout right now and listening to an audiobook by Garrett B. Gunderson. It's called Unmasked, and it affirms a lot of the values and principles that I live by, and it's incredibly important to remember the ways in which you escape and make yourself so aware of what that looks like in your life in order to be able to move forward. I know that I can be pretty strict on what that looks like for me and to avoid not to do that. And I realized that this year I've been able to point that out in everyone around me. And it was frustrating for myself because I also knew that anything that I'm frustrated or angry about means there's something that I haven't resolved within myself. And I always use that as almost like a pinpoint, a location, starting point to really observe what's going on. And I also am fully aware that every time I feel like I learn a lesson, God is gonna repackage the lesson and give it back to me in a way where I don't recognize it to see if I really learned my lesson. And this year, that lesson was really, it was deep in the wedge, if that's even like an idiom. I don't know where that came from. But it was deep in there and I couldn't figure out why I was so frustrated and upset. And I think as I continue to process the year and really understand where it was coming from, I think it came from a space of not being where I wanted to be right now, and equally being frustrated that I myself can't be an example for someone else to look at and say, let me go do better too. But rather than focusing on the state of abundance of continuing to create and continuing to better myself, which I was, but it was at the expense of someone else, and inadvertently caused me to look everywhere outside of myself to continue to find a solution. And therefore, although I had plenty of moments of growth this year and aha moments and realizations, and I did continue to create, I did reach a roadblock around the end of September, October, after I did a workshop, after I finished a film shoot. It's now November, and I can see that during that time I was probably the most frustrated that I had been, because it became a spiral effect. Being frustrated about what was going on around me, what was happening to me, seeing my bank account deplete and not knowing what I could do about it. I felt like I was losing control, and I finally am stepping out of that state of burnout, because it was a burnout at the end of the day, and acknowledging what it was, pushing myself to rest and not feel bad about it, and recentering myself to remember my purpose and why I'm here, which is my purpose is still outward, so I'm finding that balance. And I think that's where the frustration came from too, is finding that balance between being of service to others and doing stuff in the name of others, if that makes sense. Being of service means being able to create for the betterment of the people around you, your influence. Creating in the name of service is what I was experiencing before, which was, why can't I get you to see how to better your life and be better for yourself and why can't you see it in what I'm doing? That's essentially the difference that I've come to the conclusion of. And as I began to let go of that, I've been able to create and build and focus and shift into a state of abundance again, as opposed to a state of scarcity. And now I'm seeing the energy around me shift again. So that's a lot of noise going on behind me, but that's some of the realizations that I came to, and I will continue to document my journals. So I don't know what to call it just yet, but I'll post them somewhere.